What is up, Team Greely? This is Angela Glass coming to you at the Fort Greely Fire Department with our Garrison Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Keith Marshall, for our quarterly Coffee and Conversation. Sir, this is your first Coffee and Conversation outside of our studio, and we also have our community leaders and our external mission partners who have so graciously given up their afternoon to be with us today. So what words do you have for everybody to introduce us?
Well, first of all, welcome. Thank you to all of our external mission partners. Today is about building relationships and making sure that we understand what our neighbors are doing to the left and right of us. I try to attend as many meetings as I possibly can or be a part of the councils so that I understand what's going on in the rural Deltana and Delta Junction communities, and want to make sure that you have that same opportunity to come in and see what we're doing here for our community. So thank you very much for coming. And again, this is being recorded live, so feel free to ask any questions once we get to that question and answer portion. Awesome.
Lieutenant Colonel Marshall and I are going to be talking about some topics of interest amongst our community. So we have our coffee, we have our donuts, so let's go ahead and get started. Colonel Marshall, let's talk some local news. We have used this podcast to talk about 24-hour fitness. We've talked about the introduction of express scripts and also our CAC upgrades. So what updates can you provide to the community about those things?
Okay, so great news. Two of those items have been completed. We were able to go full operational capability with the 24-hour gym access. And we are working through some growing pains with that operation, but it is definitely available. And then also the express scripts this week has gone fully operational. So we have that capability in our community as well. The CAC expansion, as a lot of the members know, the grill itself expanded, and we had upgrades to the bar and the Java Cafe. And in the summer here, we're going to start construction on an expansion for an indoor playground. So that will be an opportunity for those facilities to be utilized in a different manner in the later 2025 timeframe. So exciting news in that expansion. And then, we're going to also use some of the items we're talking about later to further those, address those needs of the community and things we're trying to get after for our families and our soldiers here on Fort Greely.
Man, that's such good news. So many of those things are years in the making. So, like years. So, leading into the future means that we get a lot of buy-in from our community. And in the last week, we were able to hold 2 focus groups that were focused on the Community Activity Center, and we heard from our community feedback about what they really liked about the Community Activity Center and also things that they wanted to improve. But my question to you is, what other sensing sessions do you see in the future, and then what is your intent for these sessions, and how will we see the community's feedback afterward?
So the focus groups, the real intent of those is to understand what the community wants and needs. We are blessed with a lot of resources out here, but they're limited resources, right? We have to be able to apply them in certain ways and correctly. So if we are blindly throwing things on the calendar or washing and repeating what we've done in the past, that may not really support the needs of the community appropriately. So those focus groups, that's the intent, is to get that pulse from the community, find out where we're maybe falling short or where we may be exceeding, and we want to continue doing those type of things. So, some of those examples might be, additional bowling leagues, additional opportunities at the CAC, different different hours possibly for maybe the Java Cafe, and we're taking a look at all of those different things. So we received great participation in these last focus groups. There will be future focus groups focusing on things like the gym and the services that are provided at the gym, also at our outdoor recreation and the auto skills we're going to take a look at some of that feedback to make sure that we're meeting our requirements and demands there. As far as how fast those things will be implemented, that's kind of a moving target because we're in different types of budgeting cycles. It can't be sometimes as simple as, we'll make that happen tomorrow. Sometimes it's got to be a well-planned and thought out effort. And we definitely don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. We want to make sure that everything is in its place before we execute and make sure that we're fully supporting this community. So really looking forward to seeing folks at these upcoming focus groups, and we will get those on the calendar here shortly and advertise those, so please keep an eye out for those.
Awesome. So let's reflect on some of our own recent events. We've had a volunteer recognition ceremony and also a Garrison Safety Stand Down Day. What is your thoughts on those events, and what do you think that our volunteers, how amazing they are, and what do they bring to our community? Well,
absolutely. So two different things. The volunteers in our community are imperative, and we have a lot of humble people in our community that don't want to be recognized for the things they do. And we respect that, but at the same time, we want to have a day or a time that we can thank them for all that they do for us. We were blessed with over 60 volunteers that were recognized this last recognition ceremony, coming to about $122,000 worth of money, if that had to be translated into money in those efforts, the time that was used for that volunteerism. So things like that we definitely want to keep promoting, and we're looking forward to that the next ceremony as well, which will be around this time next year. And then to plug the getting your volunteer hours in and it being officially documented in our VMIS systems, so that we can recognize you. And you don't have to be a military member. You can be a community member that is supporting things at Fort Greely, and we can still get you into the system and recognize you in those manner. The second thing is things like the Safety Stand Down Day, critically important. As we come to the 101 days of summer, which has statistically shown that it is a more dangerous period of time as we come out of the spring and transition into summer activities, there are more accidents and things of that nature happen during that period. So the Safety Stand Down was meant to get after that kind of time period and think about those safety activities. If you're going out to a national park, if you're going out camping, even if you're just going out for the day, you have to have a plan. Let people know where you're at. Try to make sure that all of your equipment is functional before you go out there. It's really a bad day when you get out somewhere and realize that all your stuff is out of date or something when you really need it. And this is an environment that if you don't bring it, you're probably not going to have it when you get there. Yep. So you got to make sure that you're prepared. And that was what that was getting after. And I mean, we even covered things like fireworks safety, things that are going to be happening more in July, making sure that you're doing those activities appropriately and responsibly, and having a plan. We will have a safety stand down for winter activities that will be in the fourth quarter before we get into winter. And then in the off cycles, I want to do a training stand down day where we're able to get after some of that training that maybe we can't get to in our regular routines. Such things as emergency management training and 350-1 training and some other pieces and parts. So I think it's very important that we keep supporting those type of events and making sure that we take that time to focus on those parts and pieces to be a better organization.
Fantastic advice. So summer's coming, fingers crossed, and this means barbecues and making memories with friends, being outside all the time. Our friends at North Haven, they wanted us to share a few words with our community. They mentioned roofs damaged over winter will be fixed in the coming months, and residents who need mowers and weed eaters can find them at the Self-Help Community Center. Two things that we've talked about during this podcast are pet waste and dumpster etiquette. Can you explain why it's so important that residents pick up pet waste, and why it's equally important for residents not to put large household items next to a dumpster?
So North Haven is a great partner and supports our community very well, the individuals that live on the installation. So some things is common courtesy if you have an animal and it it does its business, that you clean up after your animal, because that's not fair to those folks with other animals or with folks that don't have animals that may inadvertently step in those areas, or the kids may get into it accidentally. Pet waste does not promote growth of grass. It usually kills it. And so trying to make sure that our community stays visually and pleasant is a priority of winter, or is of a priority of North Haven. To go along with the dumpsters and trash, there is bulk item pickups that you can schedule. You just have to call Gina at North Haven, and she will have a bulk trash pickup come and remove those larger items. It becomes cumbersome when you put it next to a dumpster, because there's only one person driving the truck. They're going to fork up the dumpster, dump it. They can't get out and pick up a couch and throw it in the back of the dump truck. So we want to make sure that we're considerate of what our capabilities are, and to just keep that lines of communication. Same with hazardous materials. You shouldn't be throwing away hazardous materials in our waste into our landfill, and you should contact Gina, and they have the appropriate ways to dispose of that waste, or talk to our Fort Greely Environmental Department, and they can assist. Okay,
great. So one of the saddest things about summer, which is kind of like an oxymoron to me, but is that we have to say goodbye to some of our favorite people. One of the hardest parts about working in the military is, making relationships and then having to say goodbye. And this summer, we're going to bid farewell to Command Sergeant Major Jarvis Dunham, arguably one of the finest human beings on the planet. What words do you have to say about your amazing battle buddy, and what are your hopes for him as he moves to Fort Cavazos?
Well, it is bittersweet. First of all, Sergeant Major Dunham has been a huge impact on this community, and is well liked and loved by all. Bittersweet in the fact that he's going to rejoin his family back at Fort Cavazos. Yes. And going to go do great things. Continued on supporting the military effort. This is a unique instance where in the military, usually it's such a small community, we actually bump into each other some other places randomly. So it's usually not goodbye, it's, till the next time type thing. So even though I am, pretty far out from my change out, I'm kind of living through the same things he is, where I'm already, trying to desperately hold on to that time that I have left here with this great community. And I know we've had several discussions where, he is feels the same way, where he doesn't want to leave. If things were different, obviously, it would be a great community to be able to stay in. So fully supportive of Sergeant Major, and thank him for all that he's done here for the last 2 years. And with Army comes change. Our next Sergeant Major, Sergeant Major Holly, is going to actually be here in June, and he's bringing his family with him. He actually has family in Alaska as well, down in Anchorage. So, he's kind of more, I guess, indoctrinated to Alaska than I was as, a Florida resident, then moved up here to Alaska. So I expect great things from Sergeant Major Holly, and I know that our team is working to get him up to speed. So there will be no break in service or any type of gap there. But we are going to be sad when Sergeant Major Dunham has to leave us.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it anymore. We're going to move on to the next subject. So more than most that Fort Greely is constantly trying to improve our communication efforts, and communication is the hardest thing that we do. We're always trying to improve. So what would you ask our audience? How can we help them communicate better, like our offerings on post? What would you ask them?
So it really comes down to a community is an effort by all, right? We need to have feedback and understand where we need to improve, where we need to continue doing good things. You know, it's always a struggle to communicate back and forth. Social media platforms haven't made it easy in some cases, where there's so many out there that we can't be on every single platform. The government has some rules and regulations about being on others, so we can't reach some audiences. And then being out here in Alaska in more of a rural place, you know, sometimes it's an escape from technology, and you don't want to get on a computer and, you know, look at Facebook or Instagram or those type of things. So we really encourage that, you know, we hear your feedback. So if you have comments, you know, leave them down below, and we will address them as best as we can. Like, what is the best way to get a hold of you? How are you able to process information? I mean, is it the push board at the bistro? Is it a push board that we're putting up flyers at the post office, or spreading information through different venues through the Delta Junction frequently visited places? We definitely want to make sure that we hear those different ways that we can get after communicating better and have those advanced strategies. Now, I know one of the things, I'm going to brag about Sergeant Major Dunham a little bit. One of the things that was his initiatives was getting the signs for MWR and a lot of those electronic new means of showing what activities are coming up or more readily available, and those are things that we are absolutely able, you know, been able to work through a lot of those growing pains and been able to have those boards more available than I think in the past, you know, flashing that information up there. So with that said, just please, you know, keep an open line of communication with us, because if we don't know something, you know, we're not going to be able to fix it, and us guessing sometimes isn't always the best solution. So
I agree.
You know, it takes a village, right?
It does. So Team Greely, drop a link below. What is your favorite way to digest content? Are you a Facebook person? Are you Instagram? Do you like longer form content and you want to watch YouTube? Let us know in the comments below. So sir, the floor is yours for any last comments.
Oh, so I just really want to thank all of our mission partners, all of our teammates, family that have come out here and you know, used some valuable time to come out and be a part of this venue and our walkthrough today.
So everybody, thank you so much for coming today. To our external mission partners, we thank you for taking time out of your afternoon. Our community leaders, Team Greely, thank you for watching. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment below and we'll get them answered in a timely fashion. But we hope you have an amazing day and stay rugged.